श्रीशैलेशदयापात्रं धीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवम् यतीन्द्रप्रवणं वन्दे रम्यजामातरं मुनिम् लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् यो नित्यम् अच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये लोकाचार्याय गुरवे कृष्णपादस्य सूनवे संसारभोगिसन्दष्टजीवजीवातवे नमः।
श्रीशैलेशदयापात्रं धीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवम् यतीन्द्रप्रवणं वन्दे रम्यजामातरं मुनिम् लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये लोकाचार्याय गुरवे कृष्णपादस्य सूनवे संसारभोगिसन्दष्टजीवजीवातवे नमः। अपगतपदमानैरन्तिमोपायनिष्ठैः अधिगतपरमार्थैरर्थकामानपेक्षैः निखिलजनसुहृद्भिर्निर्जितक्रोधलोभैः वरवरमुनिभृत्यैरस्तु मे नित्ययोगः. So the continuation of the Mumuksupadi. We come to the fourth Churnikai or Sutra. Some people call it as Churnikai, some people call it as Sutra. There's not very about the difference. Mantrattilum mantrattakulleedana vastuvinam mantrapradhana acharyan pakkalilum premam kanakka undanal karyakaramavathu. This is the Churnikai of Swami Padalokacharya. The introduction to this sutra is given by Swami Manavada Mamuni in this form. Ippadi tan pakkal premamundahave immantram ivanakku karyakaramo vendarudicheihirar. Mantrattilum enne todangi அதாவது ஞாதவியார்த்த ஞாபகமான இம்மந்திரந்தன்னிலும் சேஷித்வ சரண்யத்வ பிராபியத்வங்களாகிற ஆகாரத்ரய யுக்ததையா மந்திரத்துக்கு வாக்கியவஸ்துவாயிருக்கிற ஈஸ்வர விஷயத்திலும் தன்மந்திரம் பிராமணாதீனம் என்கிறபடியே மந்திரம் ஆச்சாரியாதீனமாயிருப்பதொன்னாகையாதே இத்தை யதா பிரதிபத்தியுக்தனாய் கொண்டு தனக்கு உபகரித்த ஆச்சாரிய விஷயத்திலும் தத்தத் வைலக்ஷண்யானுரூபமாக பிரேமாதிசயன உண்டானால் இவனுக்கு காரியகரமாவதென்கை. மந்திரே தத்தேவதாயாம் ச ததா மந்திரப்ரதே குரௌ திரிஷு பக்திஸ் சதா காரியா சாஹி பிரதம சாதனம் என்ன கடவதிலே. So before a person starts to continuously chant a mantra, what is the prerequisite? That is mentioned in this Churnikai. As mantrattilum mantrapradhanana acharyan pakkalinum mantrattilum mantrattukkulleedana vastuvinam mantrapradhanana acharyan pakkalinum premam ganakka undanal karyakaramavathu. I was mentioning in an earlier class, I supposedly remember, mantre tirthe dvije daive daivajne bheshje gurau yadrishi bhavana yatra siddhir bhavati tadrishi. Did I mention about this in the earlier classes? Does anyone remember?
What exact point you're asking about?
So the fruits that one obtains from these 7 aspects depends upon the disposition one has towards them. That is with regard to mantra,
No,
with regard to tirthas.
not that I know of. You have not mentioned that.
This is very, very interesting. So the main aspect that works here is what we know as, what we call as faith in English language. So yadrishi bhavana yatra siddhir bhavati tadrishi. The fruits you attain from that particular aspect depends upon your disposition towards it. And this is very much true with regard to 7 aspects. The first one is mantra. The second one is tirtha. Tirtha essentially means tirthas like Ganga, Yamuna, the rivers, and also the tirtha kshetras, like the 108 chosen sites or Divya Deshas, as they are called. Then dvijas with regard to Brahmins, of course, not those Brahmins who are just having the sacred thread or upavita or something. Those who have the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman. Such a person is known as a real Brahmana. So a Brahmana means a Brahmajnani, or who has attained the Bhagavad Sakshatkaram, or the vision of the Supreme Lord. Vijay Daive. Then with regard to Daiva actually means destiny. It also means God. So if you believe in destiny, destiny will help you. Similarly, if you believe in God, God actually responds to you. So if you are indifferent towards God, God is also indifferent. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita there is a very nice saying by Lord Krishna. He says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priya. I am equal to all beings in this world, and none is the recipient of my grace, or none is the recipient of my animosity. I don't hate anybody, I don't love anybody. But he succeeds this statement by another statement where he says, Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. But, or nevertheless, with regard to those who worship me with devotion, I am in them and they are in me. So I have such a close relationship with a person who is my devotee. And in another context, Lord Krishna specifically says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. So I deem, or I reciprocate, that is the right word, I think. As a person sees me, I see him. That is the literal meaning of this verse. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. So, as a person sees me, as a person is disposed towards me, I also am disposed towards him in the same manner. That's what Lord Krishna says. So, the apparent contradiction between the two statements, that is, when he says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priya, and ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mahite teshu chapyam, it seems to be a seemingly contradictory statement. Because when he says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu, I am equal to all beings in this world. And none is the recipient of my grace, none is the recipient of my anger or animosity, or whatever you would like to call it. This is the general rule. And the exception is, Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mahite teshu chapyaham. So the general rule is, God is equal to all beings in this world. But with regard to those who worship with devotion, bhakti or love. He says, I am in them and they are in me. So there is such a close relationship. So this is the exception. And we know that such people are very, 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 very less. Probably 0.00001% of the population. So that is why Lord Krishna in another context says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stathaiva bhajami. As they look at me, I look at them. So that is why it's in Vijay Daive. As far as Daiva is concerned, that is, you can call it destiny, you can call it God, because in a way God itself is destiny and destiny itself is God. You can say like that also in a particular state of existence. And Daivagya. Daivagya means an astrologer. So if you really believe what the astrologer says, then it will happen. If you don't believe, it will not happen. But this is with regard to astrologers who were very, very honest, sincere, and who never used to say something to please the person who is in front of them or the person who asks them about something. And one more very important aspect is people have the wrong notion that astrologer means one who predicts the future. It is not like that. Because even according to Jyotish Shastra or astrology, nobody can predict three things. That is Janana, Marana and Ritu, which means when a person is going to be born, probability is there. You can say probably at this time. But we see children who are born in the 7th month of pregnancy, 8th month of pregnancy, etc. Then when a person is going to die, and also with regard to the periods of women. So it is mentioned that these three cannot be mentioned by anybody, even by the greatest of the great astrologers. So they will just mention that these are the probable events that could occur. So be careful. So it's only an inclinatory view about some future aspects or something. If a person wants to know whether, for example, he is embarking on a new venture, he can gauge from the help of astrologers whether the planetary positions are favorable to him or not. Or if he has some disease, whether it's a curable disease or not. So such things, not in a very subtle manner, but in a gross manner, these things can be advised by astrologers, which is their main duty. And it is wrong to think that astrologers can predict our future, because there are certain inherent problems. For example, if a person sees my astrological chart, an astrologer, he will say, I want to see your wives. He'll say, I want to see your brothers or mothers or fathers or somebody else. Because my existence or my living is not dependent on me alone. It depends on the adrishta or the luck, if you can translate it that way, upon so many other things. So astrology is about future prediction. This is not the case. It only gives you some inclinatory information about some issues that would occur in future. And it should not be used to gauge or predict the future, because a true astrologer will never do that. But with regard to astrologers who are honest, sincere and knowledgeable, mark these all in a highlighted way. It depends, the fruits that you attain depend on the disposition you have towards it. Daivagye bheshaje guru. Bheshaje with regard to doctors. So if you have total faith in the doctor, then your disease will be cured. If you don't have faith at all, then definitely that medicine prescribed by a particular doctor in whom you don't have faith will never work. On the other hand, if you have total faith in the doctor, even if the medicine is not very important. We see that certain people who are given to psychological diseases, they are given some sugar-coated ordinary pills to cure their disease because the disease is in the mind and not in the body. So psychologically, when such a thing is done, their disease is cured. So Daivajne Bheshane, and also with regard to Guru or Acharya. So if you have total faith in the Acharya that he can lead you to the Supreme Lord, then it will happen. Whether the Acharya is qualified or not is a different question. Your bhavana or your disposition towards it will give you the required fruits or results. So it is said, Mantre, Tirthe, Dvije, Daive, Daivajne, Bheshaje, Gurau. Yadrishi bhavana yatra siddhir bhavati tadrishi. If you partially believe in these things, partial results will be obtained. If you have total faith and total belief, then automatically that will happen. If you have no faith at all, nothing will happen. So among those aspects that are of this nature, mantra is the first thing. If you totally believe in the mantra, then it will do all the things that you believe it will happen. So it is a matter of faith, 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 and faith, nothing else. It is known as Shraddha in Sanskrit. So in all the Upanishads, or in many, many places in the Upanishads, it says Shraddhatsva Somya. Please believe in me. Don't have any doubts. So Shraddha is the most important aspect. And that Shraddha is nothing but deep love, deep affection for three aspects associated with mantras. Mantrattilum, mantratte kullidana vastuvinum, mantra pradhanana acharyan pakkalirum, premam ghanakkaundanal. You should have utmost love and affection. Love that emanates from the bottom of your heart. That is what is mentioned as premam ghanakkaundana. Should have utmost love for three aspects. The mantra itself as an entity. Mantratte kullidana vastuvinam. So the deity that is actually propitiated by means of that mantra. And also mantra pradhanana acharyan pakkalilum. You should have utmost respect and regard for the Acharya who teaches you the mantra. So, when these three occur only, then only the mantra will be effective. Otherwise, mantra will be useless. Today we see, even including me, I would like to tell, do we have so much of faith in the mantras? No. That is why we are as we are now. Almost no way. Which you have to acknowledge openly without any hesitation. So, why? Why is this happening so? Because we don't have that amount of faith in these three aspects. Which is mantra, the deity propitiated by the mantra, and also the Acharya who gives the Upadesha or who instructs us or who initiates us into the mantra. So he says, Mantratkashir. அதாவது ஞாதவியார்த்த ஞாபகமான இன்மந்திரத்திலும் சேஷித்வ சரண்யத்வ பிராபியத்வங்களாகிற ஆகாரத்ரேயுக்ததையா இம்மந்திரத்துக்கு வாச்சிய வஸ்துவாயிருக்கிற ஈஸ்வர விஷயத்திலும். So first you have to have utmost faith, utmost devotion, utmost respect, etc. for the mantra itself, which is the combination of so many different letters. Mantra is of the form of a sound, which is the combination of different alphabets or varnas or aksharas as they are known. So you should have lot of respect or utmost respect for the mantra, which is in the form of the permutations and combinations of different alphabets or varnas as they are known in Sanskrit. Secondly, who is the person who is propitiated by this mantra? It is the Supreme Lord Narayana. And what is his speciality? Why do you think he is the most important? So Swami Manavala Mamuni says, Sheshitva, Sharanyatva, Prapyatvangalahina, Akaratraya Yuktataya. The Supreme Lord has several unique, important, wonderful attributes. But three attributes that matter the most in the present context are mentioned here. That is, he possesses Sheshitva, and we possess Sheshatva. So the relationship between the Jivatma and the Paramatma is one of the important relationships is Shesha Sheshibhava. That is, we are totally subservient to the Supreme Lord. Since we are totally subservient, he is the Sheshi to us and we are Shesha to him. As a result of that, he is Sharanya and we are Sharanas. So he is the person whom we beseech as the person who protects us. So we do Sharanagati to him. He is Sharanya and we are the Sharanas. It is we are the persons who take refuge in him, and he is the provider of refuge to us. And since he is the Sharanya, he is also the Prapya. He is the person who is to be attained by us. So Sheshitva, Sharanyatva and Prapyatva, these are the three most important aspects that the Supreme Lord possesses, respectively in consonance with Sheshatva, Sharanatva and Praptritva. So we are the persons who are going to attain moksha. We are the persons who are subservient to him, who by doing Sharanagati, we convey that we have surrendered unto you. And also he is the Sheshi and we are the Sheshas. The meaning which you already know. So, Ahira Akaratraya Yuktataya Immantratikki Vachyavastuvairikira Ishvara Vishayattinum. So who is the person who is propitiated by this mantra? It is the Supreme Lord Narayana. And he is well propitiated by the mantra, this mantra. And he says, Tanmantram Brahmanadhinam Yengirapadiye Mantram Acharyadhinama Irupurunahiyane Ittayatha Pratipatti Yuktanai Kundu. The third aspect is one should have utmost respect, sincerity and all such qualities towards the Acharya. So in the Vaikhanasa Trihya Sutra, Dharma Sutra, there is a beautiful statement which says, Daivadhinam Jagat Sarvam. It is in Mahabharata also, I believe, where Lord Krishna himself gives this statement, because the source of this mantra is not mentioned in this context. It says, Daivadhinam Jagat Sarvam. The entire world is under the control of the Supreme Lord. But the Supreme Lord is under the control of mantras. Mantradhinam tu Daivatam. And those mantras are actually controlled by the Brahmanas. So, in today's context, especially in India, there is a huge movement which says these Brahmins were those who deprived others of knowledge. They did not teach the Vedas to the others. They did not teach the mantras to the others. They did not educate them, etc. But it is not so. Because if a person has to be given something very sensitive, one has to actually test him and see whether he is responsible enough. Sorry. Yeah? So, for example, earlier, of course, today I understand I am not a medical expert. Earlier, they used to prescribe penicillin for certain diseases. So, penicillin used to have an adverse effect on many people who could not withstand the side effects, and they used to die immediately. But it was a very, I understand from my elders, that for certain diseases it was a very, very, very effective remedy. So they used to give a test dose of a small quantity and observe the changes in the patient. And if the patient was able to withstand the side effects of penicillin, then they would give the full dose and cure the patient. So before that, we have seen or heard that many people who were given penicillin as a full dose used to die very soon within 1 hour or 2 hours. So the person should be able to withstand the side effects of penicillin or even the effects of penicillin. So similarly, in this context, Tanmantram Brahmanadhinam. So the mantras, the Supreme Lord is controlled by the mantras, and mantras are controlled by the Brahmins. Brahmins means, as I said, not those who have just the sacred thread, etc., who have had the vision of the Supreme Lord, who are great devotees of the Supreme Lord. And so he says, Tasmat Brahmanam, Brahmano Mama Daivata, Tasmat Brahmana Daivatam Mama. So Lord Krishna says, the Brahmins who are such, who have such qualifications are my gods. That's what he says. So he says, mainly, என்கிறபடியே இம்மந்திரம் ஆச்சாரியாதீனமாயிருப்பதொன்னாகையாலே இதை யதா பிரதிபத்தியுக்தனாய் கொண்டு தனக்கு உபகரித்த ஆச்சாரிய விஷயத்திலும் தத்தத்வைலட்சண்யானுரூபமாக பிரேமாதிசயேன உண்டானால் இவனுக்கு காரியகரமாவதென்கை மந்திரே தத்தேவதாயாஞ்ச ததா மந்திரப்ரதே குரௌ Trishu Bhakti Sada Karya Sahi Prathama Sadhanam. So even as a person takes the Samashayanam or Shri Vaishnava Diksha from a qualified Acharya, immediately what he has to do? He has to have utmost devotion, sincerity, etc., dedication, and all other associated qualities with regard to these three, that is the mantra, the deity worshipped by the mantra, and also the acharya who initiates the aspirant, spiritual aspirant. So Trishu Bhakti Sada Karya, the spiritual aspirant or the Shri Vaishnava who wants to attain moksha should always be thinking about these three things. He should have utmost respect for these three, always, all the 24 hours. So then, how does he eat? How does he sleep, etc.? Even during eating, during sleeping, etc., always he should be thinking about the uniqueness or greatness of the mantra, the deity worshipped by the mantra, and the acharya who facilitates this. So it says, Trishu Bhakti Sada Karya Sahi Prathama Sadhana. So the first step towards proceeding in the spiritual path is not even chanting the mantra, but our repeated chanting of the mantra or japa as it is known, but continuous devotion, respect, dedication to all these three things. It is the mantra and the deity propitiated by the mantra and also the acharya. Unless this happens, there will be no use even if he chants the mantra 10,000 times or 1,000,000 times or how many times ever. So that is why he says, Yennakkadavadire. So unless this happens, there is no use of having initiation. And having said that, Pudlalokacharya goes forward, hence he says, Samsarihal tangalayum Ishwaranayum Barandu, Ishwara Kainkariyatayum Ilandu, Ilandom Ingira Idamuminnike, Samsaramahira, Rinkadali Kadalide Vilanduno Pada, Sarveshwaram Tankripayade, your health Annayaring the Karamaram Sherum Padi, Tane Shishyanumai Acharyanumai Nunne. Thirumantrathai Vilittal Aruninam. First I will explain the literal meaning of the Sutra or Churnikai. Samsarihal Tangalayum Ishwaranayum Marandu. So these people are we people. That is how it has to be mentioned. So we are all under bondage as we know. All of us are. How are we? Samsarihal tangalayum Ishwaranayum marandu. We have forgotten about ourselves. In the sense, we don't know what is the real nature of our Atma. Do we know what is the real nature of my Atma? Do I know what my Atma is? No. Just I have some inclination. I have some inclination about my Atma by what is known as the I consciousness or Ahamartha, as it is mentioned in the Vedanta Shastra. But that is all I know about myself. I don't know anything. From where I have come, from where I will go. What are the sins associated with my Atma? What are the good deeds associated with my Atma? None of us know anything about ourselves. So that is why Pudlalokacharya says, Samsarihal tangalayum marandi. We have forgotten about ourselves in the sense we don't know what our own real nature is. And also we have forgotten about ourselves. Then do we remember the Supreme Lord as he has to be remembered? No. Ishwaranayum marande. So we samsaris have forgotten about ourselves. We don't know what our true natures are. Similarly, we have forgotten about the Supreme Lord also. Always we are engaged in some laukika activity or activity that is associated with our external life. Secondly, what has happened? Ishwara Kainkariyatayum Ilandu. Most of us have given up all the Kainkariyas or servitudes or activities that are in the form of servitude unto the Lord. We may do some puja, we may do something for a few minutes, but that is not the case. That is why later he is going to quote a verse which says, Yan muhurtam kshanam vapi vasudevo nachintyate saharihi tan mahaddukham sabhrantis sacha vikriya. Even if for a moment a person does not think about the Supreme Lord, such a person is supposed to be under illusion. He is supposed to have lost everything in life. And he is supposed to have gained all those things he should not have gained in life. I would like to mention an anecdote in this regard. which all of us have to think over and over and over again. So we have all heard about Swami Parashara Bhattar, who was the only son of Kurat Talwan or Kuresha, who was the direct disciple of Ramanujacharya. Two sons are there, Parashara Bhattar and Vedavyasa Bhattar. So he used to have a lot of deities at home in the form of the Archa form, iconic form. And some days he would actually ask one of his assistants, who was also a disciple, to do the Tiruvaradhanam. So Tiruvaradhanam involves offering all the Shadasanas, as we call them. That is Mantrasana, then Snarasana, Alankarasana, Pudarmantrasana, Bhojyasana, Shayyasana. So it is like, to put it in a nutshell or to give a very simple method of understanding what Tiruvaradhana is all about. It is like waking a child, a very young child, which is probably 1 or 2 or 3 years old. So after waking the child, we actually help him, since it's a child having Prakriti Sambandha, of course it has to go through the toiletry procedures. Then he is bathed. After bathing, we offer food, and then we make him sleep. After actually bathing him, the mother actually decorates the young child. That is all in the Indian tradition, not in the foreign tradition, unfortunately. But there is nothing wrong if the foreigners also follow this tradition, because the young child is considered to be the incarnation of Lord Krishna. And if it is a girl child, it is supposed to be the incarnation of Goddess Lakshmi. So similar procedure is performed to the Supreme Lord, where Suprabhata is actually sung to wish him a very good morning. Then you have Mantrasana, which is in the same form. Then you have Snarasana, bathing the Lord. Then the Alankarasana, decorating the Lord with beautiful flowers, beautiful clothes. Then anointing him with Chandanam or sandalwood. And then offering him food. Bhojyasana, then Punarmantrasana, then Shayyasana, making him sleep. So, when Swami Parashara Bhattar was unable to perform the Tiruvaradhanam himself, he used to delegate the task to one of his very close disciples. And that disciple used to take nearly 4 to 5 hours to perform the Tiruvaradhanam in a very, very, very detailed manner. So while doing the Tiruvaradhanam, you have to have 5 different vessels. One main vessel, which is known as Tirukkaveri, where the main sacred water is stored. Then that has to be put into 5 different vessels. The Arghyapadya, Padyapatra, Arghapatra, Padyapatra, Achamaniya Patra, Snaniya and Shuddhodaka. So their elaborate procedure is there. And then in each of the asanas, in the Alankarasana, Dhyanasana, Shayyasana, etc., separately Arghya, Padya, Achamaniya has to be offered. From the Arghya vessel, Arghya has to be offered once. From the Padya vessel, Padya has to be offered twice. From the Achamaniya vessel, Achamaniya has to be offered thrice. And in between, each time the Uddharani or the spoon-like thing has to be dipped into the Shuddhodaka or the pure water vessel, because one should not get mixed with the other. So we had to do this, repeat this in all the asanas. That is the procedure. So he used to do this in a very, very systematic manner. He used to take care. So Arghya water should not be mixed with Padya. Padya water should not be mixed with Achmaniya. So very, very meticulously he used to do like this, offer it every time. So by the time he completed the Thiruvaradhanam, it would take 4 to 5 years. So after he completed Thiruvaradhanam, Swami Parashara Bhattara used to, oh, very early you have finished. How is it that you have completed the Thiruvaradhanam so early? Whereas on the other hand, when Parashara Bhattara used to perform the Thiruvaradhanam, he used to do it in 2 or 3 minutes. So he used to open the doors of the Kovil Alwar, as it is known in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. The box-like structure which houses all the deities, the salagrams, etc., is known as Kovil Alwar, or the Alwar which is in the form of a temple. So Swami Parashara Bhattara used to open the Kovil Alwar. So within 5 or 10 minutes, he used to do all the procedures. Offer Naivedyam, perform an arati and close the thing and said, yes, Thiruvaradhanam is complete. So many a times, on a different note, kindly don't connect it to this, what I am telling now. On a different note, when certain people, Sri Vaishnavas, for example, people like me, we do Thiruvaradhanam in 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, when we have to travel or something. So they jokingly ask, one asks the other, oh, is it Bhattar Thiruvaradhana Kramam? Is it the procedure of Parashara Bhattara that they have followed in Thiruvaradhanam? But it's on a different note. So Swami Parashara Bhattara used to ask like this, but when he used to do himself, he used to do it within 5 or 10 minutes maximum. So this happened for many days. Then the disciple thought, what is this? I am doing in such an elaborate manner. But my Acharya is asking how quickly you have completed. Whereas when he himself performs the Thiruvaradhanam, he just does it in 5 or 10 minutes. Is it not wrong on his part to ask him to do like this? But in those days, disciples were very careful. They would not confront their guru, because guru is the person who is to be most venerable, So the disciple who was doing so, he approached the mother of Parashara Bhattara, namely Andal, who was the wife of Kuratava, a great devotee by herself, in her own right. He approached her and asked, Ammangar, they used to call those days, oh mother, I have a small doubt. Every day I perform Thiruvaradhanam in such an elaborate manner. Great devotion, 4 or 5 hours I spend for this. But your son, my Acharya, he asks me, how come you have completed so fast? Whereas when he himself performs Thiruvaradhanam, he does it in a matter of 5 minutes. I am really perplexed to know this is happening like this, what to do. Kindly excuse me if I am wrong. Then Swami Parashara Bhattara's mother, Andal Devi, he said, I will answer your question on a day. So please give me some time. So one day, Swami Parashara Bhattara was seated to have prasadam lunch. And along with him, it so happened that this gentleman who was also his disciple, who was performing the Thiruvaradhanam on behalf of his Acharya, he was also seated in the same pankti, as we call it, in the same line. And Swami Parashara Bhattara's mother was serving them the prasadam. So, as soon as in our sampradayam, after rice is served. Immediately, the ghee has to be served. And after that, Parishechanam has to be done and all those things. I am sure you would be familiar about the procedure. So on that day, what happened? Purposefully, instead of serving ghee immediately after serving rice, Swami Parashar Bhattar's mother served the neem oil, which looked like ghee only. And in those days, probably they used to consume more of ghee because it is very beneficial to health. And from a very modern point of view, they used to burn a lot of calories because they used to walk, swim, and do a lot of physical activity. So probably they would have about 50 to 100 grams of ghee every day. You can imagine like that. So she offered probably one tablespoon or 2 or 3 tablespoons full of neem oil, which we all know is extremely, extremely sour. And she was just observing what happens. So as is the norm, first the Acharya has to take the Aposhana. Satyam Tartera Parishinchami. So we have to circumambulate the leaf having the prasadam with water, and then Amritopastaranamasi, the Aposhana has to be taken. That is, the water has to be placed in the hand and taken like this, and then the Pranahuti has to be taken. Pranaya Swaha, Apanaya Swaha, Jnanaya Swaha, Udanaya Swaha, Samanaya Swaha, Brahmane Swaha, Shri Govindaya Namaha. So along with the ghee, this has to be taken. And after the Acharya does it, the Shishyas have to do. That is the Sri Vaishnava tradition. Because it is symbolic. Many people don't know why it is to be done like that. Or many people even don't know that the disciples have to wait until the Acharya has taken the Aposhana and Pranahuti, and then only they have to do it. That is the Sri Vaishnava tradition. So Parashara Bhattar, he did it first. Then he mixed the rice with the liquid, not ghee, but the neem oil that was served. And then he took it, and then he started to consume the prasadam. Then after few moments, the disciple took the Aposhana, and then he said, Pranaya Swab. Oh, he stopped. Mother, mother, what have you done? He shouted. Hey, what is the matter? The mother of Swami Parashara Bhattar asked. No, no, instead of serving ghee, you have served neem oil. I cannot even taste it. It is so sour. How to eat this? So Swami Parashara Bhattar was totally unmindful of what is happening around him. Then his mother actually brought him to the current context. He said, Oh Parashara Bhattar, please see, what are you eating? Can you make out the taste of what you are eating? Today I have served neem oil instead of ghee. You are eating that without any difference. What is the matter? Then Swami Parashara Bhattar, wait, let me see, he said, and he took a few more morsels mixed with that neem oil and said, yes, yes, it is very sour, now I understand. Then Swami Parashara Bhattar's mother asked, what is this? You have taken a few handfuls. Did you not realize earlier that it was neem oil that I had served? Oh no, I was totally unaware of what I was eating, because I was thinking about the divine qualities of the Supreme Lord Narayana, about his different Vatsalya, Saushilya, Saulabhya, etc. I could not really make out what the taste of what I am eating is. Then Swami Parashara Bhattar's mother told the disciple, see, even one handful of rice mixed with neem oil you could not consume, because you are always thinking about your external senses and the objects of those sense organs. Whereas see how Parashara Bhattar is. Generally, he may miss some minor things, but neem oil is so sour that even a small iota of neem oil will actually make a lot of difference while consuming. But I have served almost 2 to 3 tablespoons of neem oil, and he has consumed that without even thinking about its taste. That means, see how deeply he is immersed in the Supreme. So when you are doing Tiruvaranam, of course you are very careful about it. But that devotional aspect or aspect of devotion is missing in your Tiruvaranam. That is why even if you do it for 4 hours or 5 hours, he asks you, how have you completed it so fast? Because that is why it says, Trishu Bhakti Sada Karya Sahi. Even while not doing Tiruvaranam, he is always thinking about the Supreme Lord. Whereas you, even while doing Tiruvaranam, you are not immersed in that. So that is the difference between you and him. So that is how a true Shri Vaishnava should be. And only then such a mantra will be fruitful to a person. That is what he says in this sutra. And he says, Manavana Mavani does not further comment. He says, Rishu Bhaktis Sada Karya Sahi Prathama Sadhanam Yennakadavadire. That is all I have to say in this context. Nothing more. Because already what is said in this shloka is more than what we can digest, more than what we can really do in our lives. So with these words, I complete today's exposition. Any questions, they are most welcome.
So, Swami, thank you very much. Can I, if anybody else has questions first, perhaps they can ask. You started off speaking about Sutra 4 and
Yes.
saying that one has to have total faith in the Acharya.
Yes.
My understanding was that that there, according to Arta Panchagam, there's that Acharya Abhimana. Oops, what happened? Acharya Abhimana or Acharya Prapati can be a separate path to Prapati done unto the Lord. So is it separate or do we do it together?
So I want to know what you have understood by Acharya Abhimana. By the word Acharya Abhimana.
So
Sorry if I have taken.
Okay, so I'm not sure exactly the meaning of Abhimana, but one has to have somebody has full faith in the Acharya only, and he doesn't understand perhaps the other aspects of Prapati.
Even it's not uncommon that you are slightly kindly excuse me.
No problem. Please correct me.
Mistaken, because even I was mistaken until I was corrected by my Acharya. So it is very beautifully said in the Shivachana Bhushanam. Acharya Bhimanantan Prapatti Pole Upayantarangalit Angamumai Swatantramumai Rikkum Bhakti Lashaktanak Prapatti Prapatti Lashaktanak Idu Ide Prathamam Swarupattai Pallavitamakum Hingu Pushpitamakum Anantaram Phalapariyantamakum. So he says Bhakti Lashaktanak Prapatti. So a person who is incapable of following the path of bhakti is, for him, prapatti is mentioned. For him who cannot do prapatti also, this is the path. That is Acharya Abhimana. And he says, Acharya Abhimanantam prapatti pole upayantarangalak angamumai swatantramumai. Acharya Abhimana is like prapatti. So, bhakti and prapatti, when you say bhakti is higher, prapatti is bhakti is very difficult to do or perform or follow. Prapatti is relatively easier. But prapatti is the anga of bhakti. Prapatti pole upayantarangalukku angamumai. It is part and parcel of the higher path, but it is also independent. It can also be independent. So you have first stage bhakti, then acharya, then prapatti, then acharya. Similarly, acharya abhimana, it is an anga part of prapatti and also bhakti, but it can be independent also. Prapatti pole upayantarangalukku angamumai swatantramumai irukkum. But what is acharya abhimana? Not your dedication or respect for the acharya, but you are being recipient of the abhimana of the acharya. You have to be the recipient of the abhimana of the acharya, not you are having respect for the acharya. Of course, that is very much required. But in this context, acharya abhimana means becoming the recipient of the grace of the acharya, becoming the recipient of the love of the acharya. So, in the story of a great saint, even in the Naradopakhyanā in the Srimad Bhagavatam, you have this. So, due to the insistence of the sages, Narada in his previous, you are an expert in Bhagavatam, I need not tell you. Narada was given the vision of the Supreme Lord for one moment only. Due to the insistence of the sages, he did not have any qualification on his own to have the divine vision of the Supreme Lord. Similarly, in the story of another great devotee of the Lord, that devotee requests the Lord to reveal the Lord to a particular disciple of his. Then the Lord, who is able to converse, or the devotee who is conversant with the Lord, who is able to converse directly with the Lord. Then the Lord says, no, he does not have the qualification to have my vision, I will not do it. Then the devotee says, for my sake, you reveal himself to him for one moment. Then it is said, yes, if you are insisting, for your sake, I will do it for you. So similarly here what we say, Acharya Abhimaname Uttarakam, when we say that, it means you have to be the great recipient of the Abhimana of the Acharya. So that is what Acharya Abhimana really means. That is what I understood from my Acharya. Of course, the disciple has to have great devotion towards the Acharya, but this devotee has to be the recipient of the grace of the Acharya, which is enough. That is why in the Srirangaraja somewhere, Parashara Bhatta says, Dhatte Rangi Nijamapi Padam Deshika Deshakanchi. Very beautiful verse. So he says, this Lord Ranganatha, he says Rangi. Dhatte Rangi Nijamapi Padam Deshika Deshakanchi. The Supreme Lord Ranganatha will give his own abode. He will make the Jivatma come to his own abode, that is Paramapada, based on the orders of the Acharya, not request, orders of the Acharya. He says, Deshika Adesha Kanchi. So it is very much true. But when the disciple becomes that is why even Yamunacharya says, what does he ask the Supreme Lord? He says, Mahatmabhihi mam avalokyatam naya. A very beautiful expression in Sanskrit. Only he has done that. He says, I ask you to do one thing. You make me seen by the great acharyas. That is enough. I should come into their visual, to put it in a scientific language. I should enter their visual field, their field of vision. They should look at me with grace. That is enough. So he says, Mahatmabhihi mam avalokyatam naya. He asks the God, Supreme Lord, and says, I don't want your grace. I want you to facilitate a great acharya or a great jnani who is your devotee to have a look at me, to just see me. That's all, that is enough. So that is what acharya abhimana means. So if you just have total devotion to the acharya and serve him, your job is done. But that acharya has to be like Parashara Bhattara Ramanujacharya Kurta. That is the great. He should have had the vision of the Supreme Lord and he should be a real devotee. That is the glitch there. So has your question been answered?
Yes, I think so. I'm just trying to understand that there are qualifications for somebody who wants to take to Bhakti Yoga, and then there are other qualifications for somebody who cannot take to Bhakti Yoga but takes to Prapati, and then there may also be qualifications for somebody who may even have difficulty with Prapati but can resort at least to the feet of an acharya.
Yes.
But in all the cases, this is a common thread that we have to have faith in the acharya, whether we do Bhakti Yoga, whether we do Prapati, or whether we do acharya abhimana, or if we're doing it separately. Also the question came up in our group about the qualifications for bhakti, because some people say bhakti can be performed by everyone.
Yes.
Bhakti yoga.
No, it can be performed by everyone in the sense everyone is eligible to do bhakti. See, now I will give an example. I want to study in Harvard Business School. Are you eligible? You are also eligible. I am also eligible. Every human being is eligible. But that is why it is said, what is adhikara? In the Shastras, there is a beautiful thing. So, who is the adhikari of a bhakti yoga adhikari? So, adhikara involves two aspects, arthitva and samarthya. Arthitva is he should have a deep longing to attain that. Second is he should have the capability to attain that. So, arthitva, of course, many people don't have arthitva. For example, even including me, you can say, or many of the people we see around us, they are not interested in liberation. We live a happy life here without diseases, with all good things. Of course, bad things come, we don't care about them, we endure them and end our life. We are not interested in something otherworldly or something like that. I have seen many people say that. And they are, in their own way, they are justified. We don't say no. So first you have to have that arthitva, that is, you have to have a deep longing to attain Supreme Lord. And then you have to have the capability. Now, suppose that is why I give the example to show the contrast. Suppose I want to win Wimbledon tennis championship today. Can I do it? I also want to be called as Wimbledon champion, hold the trophy in my hand, where millions of people will be cheering and all those things. Arthitva is there, samarthya is not there. Or if I want to go to Harvard Business School, I have to write so many exams. Of course, their age might not be an issue. But do I have that capability to do it? No. So for Bhakti Yoga or for anything, everybody is eligible if they have the Rani. But do they have the capability? That is the question. So it is relatively simple with regard to Prapatti, and it is relatively simpler with regard to Acharya. But you have to have such an Acharya. Today, that is the challenge. Of course, we respect all the Acharyas who have come in the traditions. And that, what we say, the Acharya, the Parampara itself has some sanctity. We don't deny that. But do those Acharyas have had the vision of the Supreme Lord? That is the question. But we need not belittle them because of that. So, of course, they can be a medium for us to go to right to Ramanujacharya, who will actually take us to the Acharya. That is, we say Asmad Acharya is Ramanujacharya. And these are all representatives. That is, even Puladokacharya says, an Acharya who is initiating a Shishya should never think that I am initiating this person. He should think that I am the representative of my Acharya. And the Shishya whom I am initiating is my Satirtha, he is like my classmate. Both of us are the Shishya, disciple of our Acharya. How beautifully they have mentioned all these things. Why we say Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya is the most evolved Sampradaya. All these nuances they have mentioned, which has not been mentioned in other Sampradayas. So we don't belittle others, but we feel proud about our Sampradaya. It is like this.
So somebody also mentioned that, especially in Tenacharya Sampradayam, some people are thinking in a very, that Sri Ramanujacharya has done property, and therefore we are all being carried by his property. I mean, somebody was saying to us that
that is a different question. Whether Prapatti has to be performed as a ritual separately or not. That is with regard to that question. So in Tenacharya Sampradaya, Prapatti is not performed separately as a ritual, as it is done in Vadagalai Sampradaya.
Varanyasam.
Yeah, with regard to that aspect, it is mentioned, we need not perform Prapatti separately as an event or as a ritual, as it is done in that Sampradaya. Both have their own pluses and minuses. It depends, it is focused on the person rather than as a rule or as an issue. We can discuss about that later on some other day.
Okay, so some other things that I had was that I think in this second sutra or one of the sutras, it mentions that the mantra should not be chanted loudly.
There is nowhere it has been mentioned that it should not be chanted loud. It has to be kept as a rahasya. That is, suppose today I am alone in my house. If I say Om Namo Narayanaya loudly, who can prevent me? Who has prevented? So that is why I said mantra can be chanted in three manners: Uchchaihi, Upamshu, and Manasa. Suppose I say, oh Narayana, 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 there is nothing wrong in that. But the mantra, it should not create any bad impression, or it should not end up troubling somebody in some way. For that purpose, they might have mentioned don't mention it loud. But that doesn't mean in all circumstances it should never be mentioned loud at all. So Uchchaihi means loudly it can be chanted. Upamshu means in a whispering tone. That is where the lip movement is visible. Like that. And totally mentally. That is Manasa Japa. And Manasa Japa leads us to Dhyana. That is what the Yoga Shastra says. So ultimately it culminates in meditation or upasana of the Supreme Lord. So Uchchaihi is, the Upamshu is better than Uchchaihi, and Manasa is better than Upamshu. That's what is mentioned. But there is nothing wrong in telling it loudly, unless it has some other issues, some other aspects.
And somebody, I mean, the story of Ramanuja saying it loud from the Gopuram.
That is a different context that we will discuss separately.
Some other time, yeah. But each and every mantra has to be learned from an acharya.
Of course.
Because
actually from an acharya who has attained it. See now, suppose I will give once again a very, very ordinary example. Suppose now you have to learn golf, playing golf. Would you, if you have an option, would you learn it from Tiger Woods, or would you learn it from a person who has learned golf just today? Or would you learn tennis from Roger Federer if he is ready to teach? So if he is accomplished, he can train others. So at the highest level, that is how it is. So you cannot, you can see the tennis manual and learn tennis itself, but unless you learn it from a guru, how can you become a great tennis player? The manual is so perfectly written. Anybody can see a tennis manual and learn. But can a person become a champion without a coach? So please tell me.
No, I understand. But for instance, in Tiruvaradanam, maybe somebody does has to do Tiruvaradanam of different deities. There will be a mantra for each deity, and each and every mantra one has to get from an acharya.
Yes. So if a very highly accomplished acharya is not available, then whoever is available, yes, you have to learn it from him. Learning from a book is not advised. General 99%. So today, why the mantras that we learn are not very effective? Because the acharyas are not accomplished. That doesn't mean we belittle the role of an acharya. But if the acharya has become a siddha in the mantra siddha, then that is totally different. But such persons, due to the age of Kali, have vanished. So we depend upon the Ramanujacharya himself as our savior through the acharya.
Right. So is it the mantra? The mantra itself is the upaya, or the Lord is the upaya?
Sorry, mantra itself is the upaya,
or the Lord himself, the Supreme
mantra,
Lord.
Once again, mantra itself is the Lord of a form of the Lord. So mantra itself can be. That is why it is said mantra murtayaha devata. So at a particular stage, the mantra itself becomes your Lord. So mantra, there is no difference between the Lord and the mantra. So in Yoga Shastra, you say tasya vachakah pranavaha. So pranava, we accept it here also. Pranava is the denoter of the Supreme Lord. So there is no difference between the Supreme Lord and pranava in a particular stage. So when you chant that mantra with that particular perspective in mind, then the Lord himself becomes the upaya. These are all, you cannot generalize all these things. You find different types of sayings given today in different contexts. So they should be resolved in a very amicable manner because they are being told in different times to different people.
And the acharya has to teach, along with the mantra, he has to teach the meaning of the mantra artha, and also the use of the mantra, or some other acharya can teach that.
Yeah, that also we will discuss, because in Ramanujacharya's case it was different. Mantrartha was taught by a different person, mantra was taught by a different person. So that we will discuss separately.
Okay, and finally, my final small question was the very nice story about Parasara Bhatta and the neem oil. So I have noticed though that some people are doing some things munadi pinadi.
Sorry?
Munadi pinadi. Munadi
What?
pinadi is a system where we maybe chant Nityanusandanam, the first word and the last word of each
Munnadi
pasaram.
Pinnadi. Okay, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry, excuse my Tamil pronunciation is very
No,
bad.
no problem.
Munadi
Yeah.
pinadi, and so we get the idea that only a person of supreme advancement is able to do Munadi pinadi. It seems like Parasara Bhatti is doing things very very quickly, but is it okay for ordinary persons to do this Munadi pinadi?
No, Munnadi
Or it
Pinnadi
should not
is
be done.
No, it's in a different context. See, what happens, suppose you cannot, suppose I in the that is Thiruvaradhana Kramam, you have to chant the Brihan Nityanusandanam. Brihan Nityanusandanam means you have Pallande, Kandinyam Shirtambe, then Tirupalli Elchi, Tirupavai, then Amalanadi Piran, in some schools of Shiva Vaishnavism, then Kovil Tiruvayamudi, Ramanjanutnadi, Upadeshamani, nearly 8 to 9 prabandhas or works have to be chanted. But this will take, if it is chanted properly, it will take 2.5 hours. So they have kept Laghu Nityanusandana. Laghu Nityanusandana means you don't do Kovil Tiruvayamudi, you will do this, some portions. But there also, if a person doesn't have time, then the Munnadi Pinnadi is chanted. So it's not, that is slightly in a different context than Parashara Bhatta. Because all the Shadasana, suppose, see, one thing is in the beginning, that is why I said it is based on the Adhikari or the state in which the devotee is. In the beginning, in the Guru Parampara Prabhavam, both are mentioned. So, in the beginning, actually, the Arghya Patra, Padya, Achamaniya, etc., you have 5 vessels. The water of one should not mix with the other. You have to be very careful. They have mentioned very specifically. That means, suppose you are having one vessel where you have water to wash your feet, and in another vessel, water to drink is there. Do you mix these two? You never do that. Therefore, while offering also Arghya Padya, Padya Patra, all these things should be kept separately, and one water should not mix with the other. So you should be very careful while offering, that also they have mentioned. But after you reach a certain stage, you transcend all these things. Then what happens? You are not aware of what is Arghya, what is Padya, what is Achamani. That is why in the Thiruvaradhana Krama, first Manasaradhana is the first thing. You do Bhuta Shuddhi and all those things, which is very, very huge, which is very important, very unique aspect. After you do Manasaradhana, then you say Bahyai Bhagavan Pundarikaksha Hridya Gantumaya Kritam Atmasat Kuruda Devesha Bahyai Samyagarchaye. Until now I have performed all the Manasaradhanas. Everything Manasam Kalpayami Purmadin Divyalokam Taranamanimayam Mantapam Tatrashesham Tasmin Dharmadipitam Taduparigamanam Chamaragrahinischta Vishnum Devi Vibhusha Yutaganamuragam Bhavake Vainateyam Senesham Dvarpalan Puramukhaganan Vishnu Bhaktan Prapadyaden Kurmadi, all those things, and you say Manasam Pratidivasamaham Manasam Kalpayami. So one of my acharyas used to say, out of 100%, 65% is Manasaradhana marks. 35% of marks is given to Bhashyara. So ultimately it is, so in the beginning you start with Bhashyaradhana is given more importance. But as a devotee progresses, he immerses himself in the Lord when he is unable to perform Bhashyaradhana like Swami Parashara. So each thing is given a lot of importance, but for whom, when, these things have to be properly. So any other question from any other person? Just one. We have about 1 or 2 minutes time. Already it has taken 1.5 hours. Any other question?
Swami, last question I just wanted to ask was, you said that prapatti is an anga of bhakti. Is
Yes.
it that when we put, and you also said that it can be practiced separately from bhakti. So is it that because of that we are saying that prapatti is either less than bhakti, or we say it's the same level as bhakti? If you say it's an anga, then you think that it's like part of it.
Yes. No, bhakti cannot be performed without prapatti. At that time, prapatti plays a secondary role, bhakti plays the main role. But when prapatti itself becomes the upaya, then it gains the primary role. So I will just give a very mundane example. In the family hierarchy, that is how it was supposed to be. The father is supreme, mother plays a secondary role. But suppose the father has gone abroad or he's gone outside for 1 or 2 years, then mother plays the primary role of what father is playing. So then mother plays the subsidiary, she takes up both the roles. So it's something like that. It's a vague example, but not fully applicable, but just for you to understand. Okay?
Thank you.
Srimate Ramanjaya Namaha, Srimad Varavara Muni.